Scientific notation. So our calculators think about extremely large and extremely small numbers using scientific notation. So scientific notation expresses all numbers as repeated multiples of 10. So like in scientific notation, the number 50 is really 5 times 10, or 5 times 10 to the power of 1. And the number 500 is really 5 times 10 times 10, or 5 times 10 squared, because there were two 10s. And 5,000 is really 5 times 10 times 10 times 10, because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000, so 5,000. And because we have three of them, it's 5 times 10 to the third power. Likewise, we can also use that for small decimals. So the number 0.5 is really 5 times 1 divided by 10. Or we write that as 5 times 10 to the negative 1. Because the 10 was in the denominator, that's why it's a negative exponent. And the number 0.05 is really 5 times 1/10 times 1/10. Or that's really 5 times 10 to the negative 1 times 10 to the negative 1. So we write that as 5 times 10 to the negative 2 because there's two 10s and they're both in the denominators. And the number 0.05 is really 5 times 1/10 times 1/10 times 1/10. So that's 5 times 10 to the negative 3. So in scientific notation, large numbers are expressed with positive exponents, and that means we'll move the decimal to the right. So to get from scientific notation to normal numbers. That's what we're going to do. So to get from scientific notation to normal numbers, we just move the decimal to the right. And small numbers are expressed with negative exponents. That means to get to normal numbers from scientific notation, we'll have to move our decimal to the left. So let's try a few examples. So what do we get if we have 1.5463, this really big number, times 10 to the power of 4? So this 10 times power of 4 indicates that our number is larger than we think. So the decimal needs to move 4 decimal places to the right to make it look larger. So if I look at this, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where my decimal place needs to go. So it's going to be 1,546,3.857,493. So it was really 15,000, but it was so big our calculator just put it into scientific notation. So let's try our next example. We have this 4.5 something times 10 to the negative 5. That 10 to the negative 5 means our number is smaller than you think. So how do you make the number smaller? You move the decimal to the left. So I'm going to rewrite this here. 4.5839. I'm not going to write the whole thing because that's okay. We can kind of shorten our decimals for a minute. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And everywhere I moved, I'm going to fill in a 0 so the decimal can move over there. So it's going to be 0.0000458394783. So that's really what it is. So remember, if you have a positive exponent, you know your final answer should look bigger. If you have a negative exponent, your final answer should look smaller. So in a previous video, we put 4.23 divided by 18,000 into our calculator. And you probably got one of these notations or something pretty similar. The calculator sometimes uses this E, but it really just means times 10 to the power. So let's change this into a decimal. So we have 2.35 and it's times 10 to the negative 4. So I know that's a negative exponent. I should be getting a small decimal, so let's move it to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill in the zeros where needed. So this is going to be 0.000235. So now you try. I want you to pause and try this. You're going to put each thing into calculator. Just make sure you use parentheses where you need it. And then it should come out in scientific notation. And then I want you to change it back into a normal number. So go ahead and try that. So let's see what you got. On this first one, make sure you're putting parentheses around the top. I got 1.2118 times 10 to the 13. Now, this times 10 to the 13 means this is a big number. It should be really big. So I should be moving my decimal to the right. 13 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Make sure you fill in zeros where needed. So it is 1, 2, 1, 1, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 zeros. If I put in my commas, let's see, that's ones, thousands, millions, trillions. So it looks like my answer is 12,118,000,000,000. My next one, I times 10 to the negative 4, so I need to move it 4 places to the left to make it smaller. Remember, negatives, exponents means it should be getting smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4. And fill in your zeros. The negative kind of makes it hard to write out, so this is going to be negative 0.000299929. You can always double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yep, that's where I started. Okay.